Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The plan. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow through the kitchen window of their cozy suburban home. The faint scent of freshly baked cookies lingered in the air, a remnant of Ashley's afternoon baking spree. Mary-Kate sat at the small, round table, her fingers drumming impatiently against the wood, the rhythmic sound echoing her inner turmoil. Just moments ago, they had been laughing over shared memories, but now the atmosphere was thick with tension. "Can you believe it?" Mary-Kate's voice was sharp, slicing through the comfortable silence. "I worked there for 2 years, and they just tossed me aside like yesterday's trash." Her green eyes blazed with a mix of anger and betrayal, the kind that made Ashley's heart ache for her sister. Ashley leaned back in her chair, her brow furrowing with concern. "I know it is unfair, but maybe it is not worth it to dwell on it. You could find something better, something you actually enjoy." She reached across the table, placing a reassuring hand over Mary-Kate's clenched fist. Mary-Kate pulled her hand away, her frustration bubbling to the surface. "You don't understand. It's not just about the job. It's about respect. I was good at what I did, and they just replaced me without a second thought." Her voice trembled slightly, revealing the vulnerability beneath her fierce exterior. Ashley sighed, her heart heavy with the weight of her sister's pain. "I get it, really. But confronting the clerk won't change what happened. It'll just make things worse." She tried to keep her tone gentle, but the worry in her chest was growing, a knot tightening with each passing moment. Mary-Kate's eyes narrowed, a fire igniting within her. "I can't just let it go. I need to talk to her, to make her understand how wrong she was. I deserve that much." She stood abruptly, the chair scraping against the floor, a sound that echoed through the quiet house like a warning bell. "Mary-Kate, please," Ashley pleaded, her voice rising slightly. "What good will it do? You'll just end up feeling worse. You know how people can be." She stood as well, her own frustration bubbling to the surface. "You're not going to change her mind. You'll just be wasting your time." Mary-Kate turned away, her back to Ashley, the tension in her shoulders evident. "You don't know what it is like to feel so powerless," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I need to do this. For me." The silence that followed was thick, heavy with unspoken words. Ashley felt a pang of helplessness as she watched her sister's resolve harden. She wanted to reach out, to pull Mary-Kate back from the edge of this reckless decision, but she knew that her sister's mind was made up. "Fine," Ashley finally said, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. "If you're going to do this, at least let me come with you. You shouldn't have to face her alone." Mary-Kate turned slowly, her expression softening just a fraction. "You really want to come?" "Of course," Ashley replied, her heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. "I'm not going to let you walk into this alone. We're in this together, remember." Mary-Kate's lips curled into a small, grateful smile, but the fire in her eyes remained. "Okay, then. We'll go tomorrow. I'll show her that I'm not someone to be pushed around." As the night wore on, the sisters sat together in the dim light of the kitchen, the air thick with unspoken fears and hopes. The cookies cooled on the counter, their sweet aroma a stark contrast to the bitterness that lingered in Mary-Kate's heart. The next morning dawned bright and clear, the sun spilling into the kitchen like liquid gold. Mary-Kate stood at the counter, her hands wrapped around a steaming mug of coffee, the warmth seeping into her skin. She stared out the window, watching the leaves flutter in the gentle breeze, but her mind was elsewhere. Focused on the confrontation that lay ahead. Ashley joined her, her hair still tousled from sleep, a sleepy smile on her face. "You ready for this?" she asked, pouring herself a cup of coffee. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, the scent of the coffee mingling with the lingering aroma of cookies. As ready as I'll ever be, she replied, her voice steady despite the flutter of nerves in her stomach. Just remember to breathe, Ashley said, her tone light but her eyes serious. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just speak your truth. Mary-Kate nodded, but the weight of her emotions pressed heavily on her chest. She had rehearsed her words 1,000 times in her mind, but now that the moment was approaching, doubt crept in. What if the clerk didn't listen? What if she dismissed her, just like the store had? Let's go, she said finally, setting her mug down with a determined clink. The drive to the supermarket was filled with a tense silence, the radio playing softly in the background, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside Mary-Kate. She glanced at Ashley, who was focused on the road, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the steering wheel. Do you think she'll be there? Mary-Kate asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ashley turned her head slightly, her expression thoughtful. If she's working today, she will be. But remember, it doesn't matter if she is or isn't. What matters is that you're standing up for yourself. Mary-Kate nodded, but the knot in her stomach tightened. As they pulled into the parking lot, the familiar sight of the supermarket loomed before them, a place that had once felt like home but now felt like a battleground. Here we go, Ashley said, her voice steady as she parked the car. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation. She stepped out of the car, the cool breeze brushing against her skin, a stark reminder of the reality she was about to face. Inside the store, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow over the aisles. The familiar sounds of shopping carts rolling and customers chatting filled the air, but Mary-Kate felt detached, as if she were moving through a dream. Let's find her, Ashley said, her voice low but firm. They navigated through the aisles, the bright colors of the products blurring together as Mary-Kate's heart raced. She spotted the clerk at the end of the aisle, her back turned, stacking cans on the shelf. There she is, Ashley whispered, her hand resting gently on Mary-Kate's arm. Mary-Kate's breath caught in her throat. This was it. She could feel the weight of her anger and hurt pressing down on her, threatening to spill over. Just remember what we talked about. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The Chase. Mary-Kate's heart pounded in her chest as she stormed out of the house, the door slamming behind her with a resounding thud that echoed through the quiet suburban street. The air was thick with the scent of freshly cut grass and blooming lilacs, but all she could smell was the bitterness of betrayal. Losing her job at the supermarket felt like losing a part of herself, and the anger coursing through her veins demanded action. She had to confront the clerk who had wronged her, the one who had whispered lies that led to her dismissal. Mary-Kate. Wait. Ashley's voice cut through the stillness, laced with worry. She rushed out after her sister, her heart racing not just from the sprint but from the fear of what Mary-Kate might do. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that danced along the pavement as Ashley chased after her sister, the sound of her sneakers slapping against the concrete punctuating the evening calm. Mary-Kate didn't look back. She could hear Ashley's footsteps behind her, but the adrenaline surged through her, propelling her forward. The neighborhood felt like a blur, the familiar houses and manicured lawns morphing into a backdrop for her fury. She could almost hear the laughter of children playing in their yards, the distant bark of a dog, but all of it faded into the background noise of her thoughts. Mary-Kate. Ashley called again, desperation creeping into her tone. Please, just stop. But Mary-Kate couldn't stop. Not now. Not when she felt so alive with purpose. The anger had ignited a fire within her, and she was determined to fan those flames. She turned a corner, her feet pounding against the pavement as she headed toward the supermarket, the very place that had betrayed her. Ashley's breath came in quick gasps as she rounded the same corner, her eyes wide with concern. You're not thinking straight. This isn't going to solve anything. Mary-Kate shot her sister a glance, her expression fierce. You don't understand. I can't just let this go. They can't treat people like this and get away with it. The determination in Mary-Kate's voice sent a shiver down Ashley's spine. She could see the fire in her sister's eyes, but it was a dangerous kind of fire, one that could consume them both. Please, just talk to me. Let's figure this out together. But Mary-Kate was already too far gone, her mind racing with thoughts of confrontation. She could picture the clerk's smug face, the way he had looked at her with disdain when she had asked for a raise. The memory of his dismissive laugh echoed in her mind, fueling her resolve. As they approached the supermarket, the fluorescent lights flickered to life, illuminating the parking lot like a stage. Mary-Kate's heart raced even faster, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through her. She could see the clerk through the glass doors, a shadowy figure moving about the aisles, oblivious to the storm brewing outside. Mary-Kate, please. Ashley's voice broke through her thoughts, and she turned to see her sister standing a few paces behind, hands on her knees, panting heavily. You don't have to do this alone. I'm here for you. For a brief moment, Mary-Kate hesitated. The warmth of Ashley's concern wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, but the anger was a siren call, pulling her closer to the edge. I have to do this, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. I need to show him that he can't just push people around. Ashley took a step forward, her eyes pleading. But what if it goes wrong? What if he gets angry? You know how he is. Mary-Kate clenched her fists, the nails digging into her palms. I can handle it. I'm not afraid of him. Maybe you should be, Ashley whispered, her voice trembling. I just don't want to see you hurt. The sincerity in Ashley's voice struck a chord deep within Mary-Kate. She could feel the weight of her sister's worry, the bond they shared pulling at her heartstrings. But the anger was a potent drug, and she was high on it. I'll be fine, she insisted, though doubt crept in like a shadow. With a deep breath, Mary-Kate pushed through the automatic doors, the cool air inside the supermarket hitting her like a wave. The familiar sounds of carts rolling and distant chatter filled her ears, but all she could focus on was the clerk, who stood at the register, oblivious to the storm brewing just outside. Mary-Kate. Ashley's voice was a whisper now, a soft plea that tugged at her conscience. But Mary-Kate was already moving, her feet carrying her toward the register with a purpose that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. As she approached, the clerk looked up, his expression shifting from boredom to surprise. Well, if it isn't the fired employee, he said, a smirk creeping onto his face. What do you want? A farewell party. The words stung, igniting the fire within her once more. You think this is funny? She shot back, her voice rising above the ambient noise of the store. You think it is okay to treat people like this? The clerk leaned back against the counter, crossing his arms with a smug grin. You were a liability, Mary-Kate. You should be thanking me for letting you go. The words cut deeper than she expected, and for a moment, her resolve wavered. But then she remembered the countless hours she had put into that job, the way she had always gone above and beyond. I deserve better than this. She shouted, her voice echoing through the aisles. A few customers turned to stare, their eyes wide with curiosity. Mary-Kate felt the heat rise in her cheeks, but she pressed on, fueled by the need to be heard. You can't just dismiss people without a second thought. You don't know what I've been through. The clerk's expression shifted, the smirk faltering as he leaned forward, his voice dropping to a low, mocking tone. Oh, I know exactly what you are. Just another disgruntled employee looking for someone to blame. The words hit her like a slap, and for a moment, she felt the weight of his judgment pressing down on her. But then she saw Ashley standing just outside the register, her face pale with worry, and the fire reignited. I'm not just some nobody. I'm a person, and I deserve respect. The clerk's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Mary-Kate thought she saw a flicker of uncertainty in his gaze. But then he straightened, the mask of indifference slipping back into place. Respect is earned, not given. Maybe if you had worked harder, you wouldn't be in this position. The words stung, and Mary-Kate felt her heart race. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The supermarket. Mary-Kate's heart pounded in her chest as she and Ashley approached the supermarket, the familiar facade looming ahead like a fortress of her past. Just hours ago, she had been sitting in their cozy living room, the scent of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the soft hum of the television. But that comfort had been shattered when she learned of her termination. Betrayal coursed through her veins, igniting a fire that propelled her forward. Ashley, ever the voice of reason, had tried to calm her, but Mary-Kate was beyond reason now. She needed answers, and she needed them now. Are you sure you want to do this? Ashley's voice trembled slightly, a mix of concern and fear. She fell into step beside her sister, her breath coming in quick bursts as they neared the entrance. What if they don't even let you talk to him? Mary-Kate shot her a glance, her jaw clenched. I have to. I can't just let it go. Not after everything I've put into that job. The words came out sharper than she intended, but the truth was, she felt like a part of her had been ripped away. The supermarket wasn't just a place of employment. It had been her sanctuary, a place where she had forged friendships and built her identity. As they reached the entrance, the automatic doors slid open with a soft whoosh, revealing the bright, fluorescent-lit interior. The air was thick with the mingling scents of fresh produce, baked bread, and the faintest hint of cleaning supplies. Mary-Kate inhaled deeply, the familiar smells igniting a bittersweet nostalgia. She had spent countless hours here, stocking shelves and chatting with customers, but today, it felt like stepping into a battlefield. Just as they crossed the threshold, a group of familiar faces emerged from the store, laughter spilling into the air like confetti. Brad, with his tousled hair and easy smile, led the pack, flanked by Paige and Caitlin. They were the epitome of carefree youth, their camaraderie evident in the way they leaned into one another, sharing inside jokes that Mary-Kate felt she had been excluded from. Look who it is. Brad's voice rang out, a hint of surprise lacing his tone as he spotted the sisters. What are you doing here? Mary-Kate's stomach twisted at the sight of him, the anger bubbling just beneath the surface. She had always found him charming, but today, he was just another reminder of her humiliation. I'm here to talk to someone, she replied, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. Ashley nudged her gently, a silent plea for restraint. Maybe we should just go, she whispered, her eyes darting between Mary-Kate and the group. But Mary-Kate was already stepping forward, her resolve hardening. No, I need to do this. She turned her gaze back to Brad, who was now watching her with a mix of curiosity and concern. What are you doing here, anyway? Just picking up some snacks for a movie night, Caitlin chimed in, her voice light and airy. You know how it is. Gotta keep the good times rolling. She shot a playful wink at Brad, who grinned back, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Right, Mary-Kate said, her tone flat. Good times. She felt a pang of jealousy at their easy laughter, the way they seemed to float through life without a care. Must be nice. Hey, what's with the attitude? Brad's smile faltered, and for a moment, the air between them thickened with unspoken tension. We're just trying to have a good time. Good time. Mary-Kate scoffed, her voice rising. You think it is a good time to laugh while I'm out here fighting for my dignity. Mary-Kate, please, Ashley interjected, stepping forward to defuse the situation. This isn't the time or place. But Mary-Kate was too far gone, her emotions swirling like a tempest. You don't get it, do you? I lost my job because of that stupid mistake, and you're all just. She gestured wildly, her frustration spilling over. You're all just living your lives like nothing happened. Whoa, calm down, Paige said, her brow furrowing in concern. We didn't know. We're sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it, Mary-Kate shot back, her voice trembling with pent-up anger. You don't know what it is like to feel betrayed by someone you trusted. The laughter faded, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. Brad's expression shifted, and for a moment, Mary-Kate saw a flicker of understanding in his eyes. I didn't know you were serious about that job, he said quietly. I thought you were just doing it for fun. Fun. Mary-Kate echoed, her voice laced with disbelief. It was more than that for me. It was my life. Maybe we can help, Caitlin offered, her tone softening. If you want, we can talk to the manager or something. Mary-Kate shook her head, the weight of their pity suffocating. No, I don't want your help. I want to handle this myself. Then what do you plan to do? Brad asked, his voice steady, a challenge laced within. You can't just storm in there and demand your job back. It doesn't work like that. Watch me, Mary-Kate replied, her heart racing with a mix of fear and determination. She turned on her heel, ready to march back into the store, but Ashley grabbed her arm, her grip firm yet gentle. Mary-Kate, please, Ashley pleaded, her eyes wide with concern. Think about this. You don't want to make things worse. For a moment, Mary-Kate hesitated, the fire in her chest flickering. She could feel the weight of her sister's worry, the unspoken bond that had always held them together. But the anger was still there, simmering just below the surface, and she couldn't let it go. Not yet. I have to do this, she said, her voice low but resolute. I need to confront him. I need to know why. Ashley sighed, her shoulders slumping in defeat. Okay, but I'm coming with you. Mary-Kate nodded, grateful for her sister's unwavering support. Together, they turned back toward the entrance, the laughter of Brad, Paige, and Caitlin fading behind them. The supermarket loomed ahead, a place of both comfort and conflict, and as they stepped inside, the fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting a stark glow on the polished floors. The aisles stretched out before them, familiar yet foreign, and Mary-Kate's heart raced with each step. She could feel the eyes of the employees on her, whispers trailing in her wake as she made her way toward the back of the store, where the manager's office was located. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. The collision. The air was thick with tension as Mary-Kate stormed out of the house, her heart pounding with a mix of anger and determination. Ashley had chased after her, calling her name, worry etched across her face. The sisters raced through their suburban neighborhood, the familiar sights blurring past them as they approached the supermarket. Mary-Kate's mind was a whirlwind of betrayal and revenge, fueled by the memory of her recent job loss. Little did they know, fate had a different plan in store for them. As they neared the entrance of the supermarket, the world around them seemed to slow. Mary-Kate's breath came in sharp bursts, her fists clenched at her sides. She could see the bright fluorescent lights of the store flickering above, the automatic doors sliding open and closed with a mechanical hum. But it wasn't the store that held her attention. It was the trio of figures emerging from its depths. Brad, Paige, and Caitlin, laughing and carefree, their laughter ringing like a mocking bell in her ears. In that moment, everything collided. The impact was sudden and chaotic. Mary-Kate barreled forward, her focus solely on confronting the clerk who had wronged her, and before she could register the presence of the three friends, she crashed into them. The world spun as bodies tumbled to the ground, a cacophony of surprised gasps and laughter erupting around them. "Whoa!" Brad exclaimed, his voice a mixture of shock and amusement as he landed awkwardly on his side, the air knocked from his lungs. "Mary-Kate!" Ashley shouted, her voice laced with panic as she stumbled to a halt, her eyes wide as she took in the scene. Mary-Kate lay sprawled on the pavement, her heart racing not just from the collision but from the sudden proximity to the very people she had been stewing over. She pushed herself up, brushing her hair from her face, and met Brad's gaze. His expression shifted from surprise to a playful grin, as if this was all part of some grand joke. "Nice entrance," he said, chuckling as he helped Caitlin to her feet. Mary-Kate's anger flared again, a hot wave that coursed through her veins. "What are you doing here?" she snapped, her voice sharper than she intended. "Just grabbing some snacks," Paige replied, her tone light, though her eyes flickered with uncertainty. "What about you?" "None of your business," Mary-Kate shot back, her frustration bubbling over. She could feel Ashley's hand on her shoulder, a silent plea for calm, but the heat of the moment drowned out any rational thought. Hey, no need to get all worked up," Brad said, his voice soothing but laced with an undercurrent of mischief. "We didn't mean to get in your way. Just a little friendly collision, right?" "Friendly?" Mary-Kate scoffed, her heart racing not just from anger but from the undeniable pull she felt toward him. She hated that he could still affect her like this, even in the midst of her fury. "You think this is funny?" "Not funny, just unexpected," he replied, his grin faltering slightly as he studied her. "You okay?" "Of course I'm not okay," she snapped, her voice rising. "I just lost my job, and now I'm stuck here with you three." "Mary-Kate," Ashley interjected, her voice low and steady. "Let's just take a breath, okay?" Mary-Kate shot her sister a look, a mixture of gratitude and irritation. She could feel the heat of embarrassment creeping up her neck, but the anger still simmered just beneath the surface. "I'm fine," she muttered, though her tone betrayed her. Caitlin, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward, her expression earnest. "Look, we didn't mean to bump into you. We were just having a great time." Mary-Kate interrupted, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Must be nice to have everything figured out while I'm here trying to pick up the pieces." "Hey, we're not perfect," Paige said, her brow furrowing. "We all have our struggles." "Right," Mary-Kate replied, crossing her arms defiantly. "Like you'd know what it is like to lose your job over some petty mistake." Brad's expression shifted, the playful glint in his eyes replaced by something more serious. "What happened?" he asked, his voice low, almost gentle. Mary-Kate hesitated, the weight of her frustration pressing down on her. She could feel the eyes of the three friends on her, a mix of curiosity and concern. "It doesn't matter," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't believe I let it happen." "Sometimes things happen that are out of our control," Caitlin said softly, her gaze steady. "It's not a reflection of your worth." Mary-Kate felt a flicker of something. Understanding, perhaps. But she quickly buried it beneath her anger. "You don't know me," she said, her voice sharper than she intended. "You don't know what I've been through." "Then tell us," Brad urged, his tone earnest. "We're not here to judge you. We just want to understand." The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. For a moment, the anger that had fueled her rushed forward began to wane, replaced by a vulnerability she wasn't ready to confront. "Why do you care?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Because we've all been there," Paige said, her eyes softening. "We've all faced our own battles. It's okay to talk about it. Mary-Kate felt the walls she had built around herself begin to crack. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat. Instead, she turned away, her gaze falling to the ground. I just wanted to confront the clerk, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I wanted to make them see how unfair it was. Confronting them won't change what happened, Brad said gently. But talking about it might help. Mary-Kate looked up, meeting his gaze. There was something in his eyes. An understanding, a connection. That made her heart race. She felt exposed, raw, and for the first time, she considered the possibility that maybe she didn't have to face this alone. I don't know how to talk about it, she confessed, her voice trembling. I just feel so lost. Then let us help, Caitlin said, her voice warm and inviting. We're here for you, even if it doesn't seem like it. Mary-Kate's defenses began to crumble, the weight of her anger lifting slightly. She glanced at Ashley, who nodded encouragingly, her eyes filled with support. Maybe I could use some help, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Brad smiled, a genuine warmth spreading across his face. Then let's grab some coffee and talk. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. The story unfolds. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement as Mary-Kate and Ashley stood at the entrance of the supermarket, the air thick with the scent of fresh produce and the faint whiff of cleaning supplies. Just moments ago, they had collided with Brad, Paige, and Caitlin, a chaotic tumble that had left them all momentarily stunned. Mary-Kate's heart still raced, fueled by a cocktail of anger and humiliation, while Ashley's worry simmered beneath the surface, her protective instincts flaring. Are you okay? Ashley whispered, her voice barely audible over the chatter of shoppers and the distant hum of the store's fluorescent lights. She reached out, brushing a stray hair from Mary-Kate's forehead, her touch gentle yet firm. I'm fine, Mary-Kate snapped, though her eyes betrayed her. They flickered toward Brad, who was trying to suppress a laugh, his friends giggling beside him. I just need to. Hey, what's going on? Paige interjected, her voice bright and curious, cutting through the tension like a knife. She stepped forward, her expression shifting from amusement to concern as she took in Mary-Kate's clenched fists and furrowed brow. You look like you've just seen a ghost. Mary-Kate's jaw tightened. It's nothing, she muttered, but the words felt hollow. She could feel Ashley's eyes on her, urging her to speak, to let it out. The weight of her frustration pressed down on her chest, and she knew she couldn't keep it bottled up any longer. Actually, Ashley said, her voice steady, it is not nothing. Mary-Kate just lost her job here, and she's pretty upset about it. The laughter faded from the trio's faces, replaced by expressions of surprise and empathy. Caitlin, who had been leaning against the shopping cart, straightened up, her brow furrowing. What happened? Mary-Kate hesitated, her heart pounding as she glanced at her sister, who nodded encouragingly. I was working the register, she began, her voice shaky but gaining strength as she continued. And this clerk. He treated me like I was invisible. I made a mistake on a coupon, and instead of helping me, he just laughed and told me to get it right next time. I was so embarrassed. Paige's eyes widened, and she exchanged a glance with Brad, who looked equally taken aback. That's awful, Paige said, her tone sincere. You didn't deserve that. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of warmth at their support, but it was quickly overshadowed by the anger that still simmered within her. I just wanted to do my job, you know. I was trying my best, and he made me feel like I was worthless. So I quit. I couldn't take it anymore. Good for you, Caitlin chimed in, her voice firm. You shouldn't have to put up with that kind of treatment. It's not right. Mary-Kate's heart swelled at their validation, but the anger still coursed through her veins like fire. I just want him to know how it feels, she said, her voice rising. I want him to understand that he can't just treat people like that and get away with it. Brad stepped forward, his expression softening. I get it. I really do. But maybe confronting him isn't the best way to handle it. You don't want to make things worse for yourself. Mary-Kate's eyes narrowed. You don't understand. He needs to know that his actions have consequences. I can't just let it go. Ashley placed a hand on her sister's shoulder, grounding her. Maybe there's another way to handle this, Kate. You don't have to do it alone. We're here for you. Mary-Kate looked at her sister, the fierce bond between them palpable. Ashley had always been her anchor, the one who kept her grounded when the world felt chaotic. But this time, Mary-Kate felt a different kind of urgency. A need for justice that burned brighter than her fear of confrontation. Look, Paige said, her voice steady and calm, why don't we all go inside? You can tell us more about what happened, and maybe we can help you figure out a plan. Mary-Kate hesitated, glancing back at the store entrance, where the fluorescent lights flickered like a warning. The thought of facing the clerk again sent a shiver down her spine, but the warmth of her sister's hand and the solidarity of her new friends urged her forward. Okay, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Let's go. As they stepped inside the store, the familiar sounds of beeping registers and the chatter of customers enveloped them. The air was cool, tinged with the scent of fresh bread and the faint sweetness of ripe fruit. Mary-Kate felt a rush of memories flood her mind. Long shifts spent scanning groceries, the laughter shared with coworkers, the mundane yet comforting rhythm of her job. It felt like a lifetime ago. They made their way to a small corner of the store, away from the bustling crowds. Mary-Kate leaned against a shelf, her heart racing as she prepared to share her story. So, it all started last week, she began, her voice trembling slightly. I was working the afternoon shift, and everything was going fine until he showed up. Who? Brad asked, his brow furrowing in confusion. The clerk, Mary-Kate replied, her voice thick with emotion. He's always been a jerk, but that day, it was like he was on a mission to humiliate me. As she recounted the details, the tension in the air shifted. The three friends listened intently, their expressions shifting from confusion to empathy. Mary-Kate could see the understanding dawning in their eyes, the realization that her pain was valid and real. I just wanted to do my job, she continued, her voice gaining strength. But he made me feel like I was nothing. And when I finally snapped and quit, it felt like I was taking a stand. But now I just feel lost. Caitlin stepped closer, her voice soft. You're not lost, Mary-Kate. You're just finding your way. It takes courage to stand up for yourself, and you did that. You should be proud. Mary-Kate felt a swell of gratitude, but the anger still simmered beneath the surface. But what about him? He gets to keep his job, keep treating people like garbage, and I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces. Maybe there's a way to hold him accountable without putting yourself in danger, Paige suggested, her tone thoughtful. You could talk to a manager or file a complaint. You deserve to be heard. Mary-Kate considered this, her mind racing. The idea of confronting the clerk directly felt like a reckless gamble, but the thought of letting him get away with his behavior gnawed at her. I don't know, she said. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. A Sister's Confession. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the suburban streets as Mary-Kate and Ashley stood amidst the remnants of their chaotic encounter outside the supermarket. Just moments ago, Mary-Kate had been a whirlwind of anger, confronting the very people who had contributed to her downfall. The laughter of Brad, Paige, and Caitlin had echoed in her ears, a stark reminder of the betrayal she felt from the clerk who had unjustly fired her. Ashley, ever the peacemaker, had tried to soothe her sister's fury, but the fire in Mary-Kate's heart had only grown hotter. Now, as they stood in the aftermath of their collision, the air was thick with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. Ashley took a deep breath, her heart racing as she glanced at Mary-Kate. Her sister's eyes were ablaze with a mix of indignation and vulnerability, and Ashley felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Mary-Kate, she began, her voice steady but soft, I know how much this hurts. But you need to talk about it. You can't just bottle it all up. Mary-Kate's jaw tightened, her fists clenching at her sides. What's there to talk about, Ash? I was wronged. I deserve to be angry. Her voice was sharp, but beneath the surface, Ashley could sense the tremors of fear and hurt. I get that, Ashley replied, stepping closer, her gaze unwavering. But anger won't fix anything. You need to let it out. You need to tell me how you really feel. The tension hung between them like a taut string, ready to snap. Mary-Kate's eyes flickered to the ground, the weight of her sister's words sinking in. She had always been the fiery one, the one who wore her heart on her sleeve, but this time, the betrayal felt deeper, more personal. It's not just about the job, Ash, she finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. It's about trust. I thought I could count on people. And then they just turned their backs. Ashley's heart ached at the rawness in her sister's voice. She reached out, placing a gentle hand on Mary-Kate's shoulder. You can count on me. You always have. But you need to let me in. What happened with the clerk? Why did it hurt so much? Mary-Kate hesitated, her breath hitching as she searched for the right words. The memory of the clerk's dismissive tone, the way he had laughed as he handed her the termination notice, flooded her mind. He didn't just fire me, she said, her voice trembling. He made me feel like I was nothing. Like I didn't matter. I thought I was doing a good job. But I guess I was wrong. The group of friends, still lingering nearby, exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from curiosity to empathy. Paige stepped forward, her voice gentle yet firm. You're not wrong for feeling this way. It's okay to be upset. We've all been there. I mean, I was terrified when I first started at the cafe. I thought everyone would judge me. Caitlin nodded, her eyes wide with understanding. Yeah, and I've had my fair share of bad days too. It's tough to put yourself out there, and when someone takes that away from you, it hurts. Brad, who had been silent until now, chimed in, You're not alone in this, Mary-Kate. We're all just trying to figure things out. Trust me, I've had my own battles with feeling like I don't belong. Mary-Kate looked at each of them, their faces earnest and sincere. For a moment, the anger that had consumed her began to ebb, replaced by a flicker of connection. I don't want to feel like this anymore, she confessed, her voice cracking. I don't want to be angry all the time. Ashley squeezed her sister's shoulder, a silent promise of support. Then let's work through it together. You don't have to face this alone. The air around them shifted, the tension slowly dissipating as Mary-Kate took a deep breath, her heart racing with the weight of her confession. I guess I just feel so lost, she admitted, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I thought I was building something, and now it feels like it is all crumbled. Paige stepped closer, her voice soothing. You're not lost. You're just in a transition. It's okay to feel uncertain. It's part of growing up. Mary-Kate nodded, the warmth of their understanding wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. I just wish I could go back to when everything felt easier, she murmured, her gaze drifting to the ground. Maybe it is not about going back, Ashley suggested, her voice thoughtful. Maybe it is about moving forward. You have the chance to redefine what you want. You're stronger than you think. The words hung in the air, a gentle reminder that change, while daunting, could also be a catalyst for growth. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, a small flame against the darkness of her doubts. You really think so? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I know so, Ashley replied, her eyes shining with conviction. You've always been the one to fight for what you believe in. Don't let this setback define you. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the neighborhood, Mary-Kate felt the warmth of her sister's words seep into her heart. She glanced at the group of friends, their faces filled with encouragement, and for the first time in days, she felt a sense of belonging. Maybe I can try, she said, her voice steadier now. Good, Brad said, a smile breaking across his face. Let's make a pact. We'll all support each other through whatever comes next. No more hiding or pretending. Caitlin nodded enthusiastically. Yes. We can be each other's cheerleaders. I mean, who doesn't love a good pep talk? Mary-Kate chuckled, the sound light and freeing. Okay, I'm in. But only if you promise to keep it real. I don't need any fake cheerleading. Deal, Paige said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. We'll keep it real and raw. Just like life. As they shared a laugh, the tension that had once enveloped them began to lift, replaced by a sense of camaraderie and understanding. Mary-Kate felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She glanced at Ashley, who smiled back, pride shining in her eyes. But just as the moment of connection seemed to solidify, a shadow flickered across Mary-Kate's face. What if I can't do it? She asked, her voice suddenly serious. What if I fail again? The laughter faded, replaced by a heavy silence. The group exchanged glances. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. A moment of reflection. The air was thick with unspoken words as Mary-Kate stood at the entrance of the supermarket, her heart still racing from the collision that had just unfolded. The laughter of Brad, Paige, and Caitlin echoed in her ears, mingling with the remnants of her anger. Just moments ago, she had been a storm, ready to unleash her fury on the clerk who had betrayed her trust. But now, surrounded by these unexpected allies, she felt the weight of her emotions shift. Ashley, her steadfast sister, stood beside her, a silent pillar of support, reminding her that they were in this together. As the group began to settle, Brad, sensing the lingering tension, cleared his throat. You know, he began, a playful glint in his eye, I once had a friend who thought it would be a great idea to prank our teacher by hiding a rubber chicken in her desk. Let's just say, it didn't go as planned. She found it before class started and made us all write an essay on the importance of respect. The absurdity of the story broke through Mary-Kate's anger, and a reluctant smile tugged at her lips. The laughter that followed was infectious, a balm to the rawness of the moment. Caitlin leaned against the wall, her laughter ringing out like a bell, while Paige rolled her eyes, feigning exasperation. You were such a dork, Brad, she teased, nudging him playfully. Hey, I was a creative kid. He shot back, grinning. But seriously, it taught me a lesson about friendship. Sometimes, you think you're being funny, but you end up hurting someone instead. It's all about knowing when to lighten up and when to take things seriously. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of camaraderie ignite within her. The laughter, the shared stories. It was a reminder that even in the midst of chaos, connections could be formed. She glanced at Ashley, who was watching her with a knowing look, and felt a surge of gratitude. They had weathered storms together, and perhaps this was just another chapter in their story. Okay, Paige interjected, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Let's hear your most embarrassing moment, Mary-Kate. I bet it is a good one. Mary-Kate hesitated, the weight of her recent experiences pressing down on her. But as she looked around at the faces of her new friends, she felt a sense of safety. Well, she began, her voice tentative but growing stronger, there was this time I thought it would be funny to try and impress a guy by pretending I could skateboard. I ended up falling flat on my face in front of everyone. The group erupted in laughter, and for the first time in what felt like ages, Mary-Kate felt the tension in her chest begin to ease. I still have the scar to prove it, she added, pointing to a small mark on her knee, and the laughter only grew louder. See. We all have our moments, Brad said, his tone light but his eyes serious. It's what makes us human. We mess up, we learn, and we grow. Mary-Kate nodded, the warmth of the moment wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. She could feel the walls she had built around herself beginning to crumble, piece by piece. I guess I've been so focused on what I lost that I forgot to appreciate what I have, she admitted, her voice softening. Ashley squeezed her hand, a silent affirmation of her sister's strength. You're not alone in this, Mary-Kate. We're all figuring things out together. The sincerity in Ashley's voice struck a chord deep within Mary-Kate. She had been so consumed by her anger and betrayal that she had almost lost sight of the love and support surrounding her. Thanks, Ash, she murmured, her heart swelling with affection for her sister. As the laughter faded, a comfortable silence settled over the group. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the parking lot. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of fresh asphalt mixed with the lingering aroma of popcorn from the store. It was a moment of reflection, a pause in the chaos of her life. But just as the calm began to settle, a shadow flickered across her mind. The clerk. The one who had betrayed her trust. The anger that had simmered beneath the surface began to bubble up again, threatening to overshadow the newfound camaraderie. Hey, what's wrong? Ashley's voice broke through her thoughts, concern etched on her face. Mary-Kate shook her head, forcing a smile. Nothing. I don't want to dwell on the past. I want to focus on the future. Good idea, Brad chimed in, his tone encouraging. Let's make a pact. No more dwelling on past mistakes. We'll support each other moving forward. Deal, Paige said, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Let's make this summer unforgettable. Mary-Kate felt a rush of excitement at the thought. Perhaps this was the turning point she had been searching for. I'm in, she said, her voice steady. As they began to discuss plans for the summer. Beach trips, movie nights, and spontaneous adventures. Mary-Kate felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. The anger that had once consumed her was now a distant memory, replaced by the promise of new beginnings. But just as the conversation flowed, a familiar figure emerged from the store, and Mary-Kate's heart sank. The clerk. The one who had caused her so much pain. Was walking toward them, a smug expression on his face. Look who it is, he called out, his voice dripping with sarcasm. The little drama queens have found new friends. The laughter died in an instant, replaced by a heavy silence. Mary-Kate's heart raced as she felt the anger surge back, hot and fierce. She could feel Ashley's hand tighten around hers, a silent reminder to stay calm. Why don't you just leave us alone? Mary-Kate shot back, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. The clerk smirked, clearly enjoying the confrontation. What's the matter? Can't handle a little truth. Truth. Mary-Kate echoed, her voice rising. You don't know anything about me. Maybe not, he replied, his tone mocking. But I know you're just a loser who can't keep a job. The words stung, and for a moment, Mary-Kate felt the weight of his insult pressing down on her. But then she remembered the laughter, the camaraderie, and the support of her sister and new friends. She straightened her shoulders, refusing to let him see her falter. I may have lost my job, but I'm not a loser, she said, her voice firm. I'm stronger than you think. The clerk's expression faltered for a moment, surprise flickering in his eyes. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. A New Beginning. The air was thick with unspoken words as Mary-Kate stood at the entrance of the supermarket, her heart still racing from the collision that had just unfolded. The laughter of Brad, Paige, and Caitlin echoed in her ears, mingling with the remnants of her anger. Just moments ago, she had stormed out of her house, fueled by a sense of betrayal and a desire for revenge against the clerk who had wronged her. But now, as she brushed herself off and looked into the faces of her sister and these new friends, a flicker of something else began to stir within her. Something that felt like hope. Are you okay? Ashley asked, her voice laced with concern as she stepped closer to Mary-Kate, her brow furrowed. The warmth of her sister's presence was a balm against the chaos of the moment. I'm fine, Mary-Kate replied, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. She glanced at Brad, who was trying to suppress a grin, and then at Caitlin, whose eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. I can't believe I ran into you guys like this. Best entrance ever, Brad quipped, his easy smile breaking the tension. You should consider a career in dramatic entrances. Mary-Kate couldn't help but smile back, the corners of her mouth lifting despite the storm brewing inside her. Yeah, well, I'd rather not be known for crashing into people. Caitlin, her energy infectious, chimed in, you know, I've always dreamed of being on an energy drink bottle. Just imagine it. Caitlin, the girl who crashed into life. She struck a pose, her hands on her hips, and the group erupted into laughter. Now that's a dream, Ashley said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. What flavor would you be? Definitely something tropical, Caitlin replied, her voice animated. Like a mix of pineapple and passion fruit. What about you, Mary-Kate? What's your dream? The question hung in the air, heavy with expectation. Mary-Kate felt the weight of their gazes on her, and for a moment, she was lost in thought. She had never really considered her own dreams, always too busy trying to survive the day-to-day grind. I don't know, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I've never really thought about it. Come on, Paige encouraged, her tone gentle yet firm. You must have something you're passionate about. Something you want to achieve. Mary-Kate looked down at her shoes, the scuffed toes a reminder of her recent struggles. I guess I always wanted to do something meaningful, she said slowly, her mind racing back to the moments when she felt truly alive. Helping others, making a difference. But I never thought I could. Why not? Brad asked, his eyes earnest. You've got the fire in you. I saw it when you were talking about that clerk. You care about what's right, and that's powerful. Mary-Kate felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. I don't know how to channel it, she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. I feel lost. Maybe that's okay, Ashley interjected, her hand resting on Mary-Kate's shoulder. We all feel lost sometimes. It's part of figuring things out. Caitlin nodded vigorously. Exactly. And you've got us now. We can help each other figure it out. What if we all made a pact to chase our dreams together? Mary-Kate looked around at the group, their faces alight with enthusiasm. The idea was both terrifying and exhilarating. You really think we could? Absolutely. Paige said, her eyes shining with determination. We can support each other, brainstorm ideas, and hold each other accountable. It'll be fun. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Okay, I'm in, she said, her voice steadier now. But I need help figuring out what my dream even is. Let's start with what you love, Brad suggested, leaning against the wall with an easy confidence. What makes you feel alive? Mary-Kate thought for a moment, her mind drifting to the moments when she felt most herself. When she was volunteering at the local shelter, helping kids with their homework, or even just sitting in her room, sketching out ideas for stories that danced in her head. I love helping people, she said finally. And I love writing. See, you're already on the right track. Caitlin exclaimed, her excitement palpable. What if you wrote about your experiences? Your journey? Mary-Kate's heart raced at the thought. You mean like a blog or something? Exactly. Ashley said, her eyes lighting up. You could share your story, your struggles, and inspire others who might be feeling the same way. The idea felt both daunting and liberating. I've never done anything like that before, Mary-Kate admitted, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Then it is time to start, Brad said, his tone encouraging. You've got a voice, and it deserves to be heard. Mary-Kate felt a swell of emotion at his words. For the first time in a long while, she felt seen. Okay, she said, her voice stronger now. I'll give it a shot. Awesome. Caitlin cheered, throwing her arms around Mary-Kate in a spontaneous hug. We'll help you every step of the way. As the group began to brainstorm ideas, the atmosphere shifted from one of tension to one of camaraderie. Laughter filled the air, and Mary-Kate felt the weight of her anger begin to lift, replaced by a sense of belonging she hadn't realized she craved. But as the conversation flowed, a shadow flickered at the edges of her mind. What if she failed? What if her voice didn't matter? The doubts crept in like unwelcome guests, but she pushed them aside, focusing instead on the warmth of her sister's hand on her back and the laughter of her new friends. Okay, so what's the first step? Mary-Kate asked, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. Let's set a goal, Ashley suggested. How about you write your first post by the end of the week? Mary-Kate nodded, feeling a thrill of determination. I can do that. And we'll be here to cheer you on, Brad added, his smile infectious. You've got this. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the parking lot, Mary-Kate felt a sense of clarity wash over her. This was a new beginning, a chance to redefine herself and her dreams. The anger that had once consumed her was now a distant memory, replaced by the promise of possibility. But just as she began to feel a sense of peace, a familiar figure emerged from the shadows of the supermarket entrance. The clerk who had sparked her anger stood there. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Friendship blossoms. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the suburban neighborhood as Mary-Kate and Ashley stood at the entrance of the supermarket, still reeling from the unexpected collision with Brad, Paige, and Caitlin. Just moments ago, Mary-Kate had been consumed by anger and a desire for revenge against the clerk who had wronged her. But now, as they brushed themselves off and exchanged awkward glances with their newfound acquaintances, the tension in the air began to shift. Laughter had erupted, and for the first time, Mary-Kate felt a flicker of something other than rage. Curiosity. As they gathered their bearings, Mary-Kate could feel Ashley's reassuring presence beside her. Her sister's hand rested gently on her shoulder, a silent reminder that they were in this together. The three new friends, Brad, Paige, and Caitlin, stood a few feet away, their expressions a mix of concern and amusement. It was a strange moment, one that felt like the fragile beginnings of something new. Are you guys okay? Brad asked, his voice light, but his eyes searched for any signs of lingering anger. Mary-Kate crossed her arms, still feeling the heat of her earlier emotions. Yeah, just peachy, she replied, her tone sharper than she intended. But as she looked at Brad, she noticed the way his smile didn't waver, how he seemed genuinely concerned. It softened her resolve, just a little. Maybe we should start over, Paige suggested, her voice brightening the atmosphere. I'm Paige, and this is Caitlin and Brad. We just got back from a little shopping spree. She gestured to the bags in their hands, and Mary-Kate couldn't help but notice the vibrant colors and trendy styles. I'm Ashley, and this is my sister, Mary-Kate, Ashley introduced, her voice warm and inviting. We didn't mean to crash your little party. Mary-Kate felt a flicker of embarrassment at the thought of their earlier confrontation. Sorry about that, she mumbled, her gaze dropping to the pavement. No harm done, Caitlin chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. Honestly, it was kind of funny. You should have seen the look on your faces. Mary-Kate couldn't help but crack a smile at Caitlin's animated expression. It was refreshing, the way she embraced the moment without hesitation. Yeah, I guess it was a bit of a spectacle, Mary-Kate admitted, her anger slowly dissipating like morning fog under the sun. Why don't we all grab a drink? Brad suggested, his eyes sparkling with mischief. There's a cafe just down the street that has the best smoothies. I promise, it'll make you forget all about that clerk. Mary-Kate hesitated, glancing at Ashley, who nodded encouragingly. Sure, why not? She said, surprising herself with her willingness to step into this new territory. As they walked together, the atmosphere shifted from awkwardness to camaraderie. The sounds of laughter and chatter filled the air, blending with the distant hum of cars and the rustling leaves overhead. Mary-Kate found herself walking beside Brad, who was animatedly recounting a story about a disastrous camping trip with his friends. And I swear, the raccoons were plotting against us. They stole our food right out of the cooler, he exclaimed, his hands gesturing wildly. Raccoons. Really? Mary-Kate laughed, the sound surprising her. It felt good to let go of her earlier frustrations, even if just for a moment. Yeah. I mean, who knew they could be so sneaky? Brad replied, his eyes twinkling with mischief. I thought we were going to have to fight them off with sticks. Caitlin chimed in, I would have paid to see that. You, armed with a stick, battling raccoons. Epic. As they reached the cafe, the aroma of fresh coffee and sweet pastries enveloped them, mingling with the laughter that spilled from the outdoor seating area. Mary-Kate felt a sense of belonging wash over her, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. They settled at a table under a large umbrella, the sun casting playful shadows across their faces. As they placed their orders, Mary-Kate caught Ashley's eye, and they exchanged a knowing glance. This was different. This felt good. So, what do you guys do for fun? Paige asked, leaning forward with genuine interest. Mary-Kate hesitated, her mind racing. Fun. It felt like a distant memory. I used to love painting, she said slowly, the words tasting foreign on her tongue. But I haven't picked up a brush in ages. Painting. That's awesome. Caitlin exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. You should totally get back into it. I love art, too. Maybe we could do a painting night sometime. Mary-Kate felt a warmth spread through her chest at the suggestion. Yeah, I'd like that, she replied, her voice steadier now. What about you, Ashley? Brad asked, turning his attention to her. What do you enjoy? Ashley smiled, her cheeks flushing slightly. I love photography. Capturing moments, you know. It's like freezing time. Wow, that's really cool. Caitlin said, her enthusiasm infectious. We should have a photo scavenger hunt. It'll be like a competition, and we can see who can find the most interesting things around town. Mary-Kate felt a swell of excitement at the idea. I'm in, she said, her earlier reservations fading away. As they continued to share stories, the conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving a tapestry of laughter and connection. Mary-Kate found herself opening up, sharing her dreams and fears, the weight of her earlier frustrations lifting with each word. "I've been thinking about what I want to do next," she confessed, her voice quieter now. "I mean, losing my job was tough, but maybe it is a chance to explore something new." "Exactly," Brad encouraged, leaning in. "You have so much potential. Don't let one setback define you. You can do anything you set your mind to." Mary-Kate felt a rush of gratitude for the support surrounding her. It was a feeling she hadn't expected to find today. "Thanks, Brad. That means a lot," she said, her heart swelling with warmth. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a soft glow over their table, Mary-Kate realized that the animosities she had felt earlier were fading into the background. She was beginning to see these new friends not as rivals, but as allies. "Okay, let's make a pact," Paige said, her voice suddenly serious. "We all support each other, no matter what. If one of us is struggling, we lift each other up." "Deal. Deal." They all echoed, a chorus of agreement that resonated with sincerity. Mary-Kate felt a sense of belonging settle in her chest, a warmth that spread through her like sunlight. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. The Clerk's Redemption. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the suburban streets as Mary-Kate, Ashley, Brad, Paige, and Caitlin stood outside the supermarket, their breaths mingling in the cool evening air. Just moments ago, they had collided in a chaotic tumble of limbs and emotions, but now, a fragile bond had begun to form among them. Mary-Kate's anger had been tempered by the unexpected camaraderie, and as they stood together, a new sense of purpose ignited within her. Mary-Kate had stormed out of her house, fueled by a desire for revenge against the clerk who had betrayed her trust. But now, with her sister by her side and the support of newfound friends, her heart was heavy with the weight of conflicting emotions. She had come here to confront the clerk, to unleash her fury, but the laughter and understanding she had shared with the group had shifted her perspective. "Are we really going to do this?" Mary-Kate asked, her voice wavering slightly as she glanced at Ashley, who nodded encouragingly. "We're not just confronting him," Ashley replied, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We're going to show him how his actions affected you. It's about standing up for yourself, not just about anger." Brad stepped forward, his hands stuffed in his pockets, a casual confidence radiating from him. "And we're all here for you. You're not alone in this anymore." Paige and Caitlin exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Let's do it," Caitlin said, her voice steady. Together, with a collective breath, they approached the entrance of the supermarket, the automatic doors sliding open with a soft whoosh. The familiar scent of fresh produce and cleaning supplies enveloped them, but today, it felt different. Today, it was charged with anticipation and the promise of resolution. As they stepped inside, Mary-Kate's heart raced. She spotted the clerk behind the register, his brow furrowed in concentration as he scanned items for a customer. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face as he recognized the group approaching him. Hey," he said, his voice uncertain. "What's going on?" Mary-Kate felt a rush of adrenaline. This was it. "We need to talk," she said, her voice firm but not unkind. The others flanked her, a united front. The clerk shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the customers milling about, oblivious to the tension brewing in the air. "Is this about what happened the other day?" he asked, his tone defensive. "Yes," Mary-Kate replied, her heart pounding. "It is. But it is not just about that. It's about how your actions affected me and how they made me feel." The clerk's expression softened slightly, and he leaned against the counter, crossing his arms. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just doing my job." "Your job," Mary-Kate echoed, her voice rising slightly. You didn't just do your job. You made me feel like I was worthless. You didn't even give me a chance to explain. I know, he said, his voice dropping. And I'm sorry. I've been under a lot of pressure lately. It's not an excuse, but I've been struggling with my own issues. I didn't handle it well. Mary-Kate's anger wavered, replaced by a flicker of empathy. She glanced at Ashley, who nodded encouragingly. We all have our struggles, Ashley said softly. But that doesn't mean we can treat others poorly. The clerk looked down, shame washing over his features. You're right. I shouldn't have taken my frustrations out on you. I'm really sorry. The air was thick with tension, but it was different now. Charged with the possibility of healing. Mary-Kate took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her anger begin to lift. I appreciate your apology, she said, her voice steadier. But it is going to take time for me to trust you again. I understand, he replied, his eyes earnest. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right. I don't want to be the reason you feel this way. Paige stepped forward, her voice gentle. We all make mistakes. It's how we learn and grow. Maybe we can help each other. The clerk looked up, surprise mingling with hope. You'd want to help me. Why not? Caitlin chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. We could all use a little support. Mary-Kate felt a warmth spread through her chest. This was not the confrontation she had envisioned. Instead of anger and resentment, they were building a bridge of understanding. Maybe we could start fresh, she suggested, her voice softer now. We could all learn from each other. The clerk nodded slowly, a tentative smile breaking through his earlier tension. I'd like that. I really would. As the group exchanged glances, a sense of relief washed over them. They had come here seeking confrontation, but instead, they had found a chance for redemption. For both Mary-Kate and the clerk. Let's grab some coffee and talk, Brad suggested, his eyes sparkling with excitement. We can share our stories and figure out how to support each other moving forward. Sounds good to me, Ashley agreed, her smile brightening the atmosphere. As they turned to leave, Mary-Kate felt a sense of lightness in her heart. The anger that had fueled her earlier was gone, replaced by a newfound hope. She had faced her fears and found understanding instead of conflict. Hey, the clerk called after them, his voice filled with sincerity. Thank you for giving me a chance. I won't let you down. Mary-Kate turned back, her heart swelling with gratitude. Thank you for listening. It means a lot. As they stepped outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. The world felt different now, brighter and full of possibilities. Can you believe that just happened? Caitlin laughed, her voice bubbling with excitement. I thought we were going to have a showdown. Me too, Mary-Kate admitted, a smile breaking across her face. But I think we all needed this. Definitely, Ashley agreed, wrapping her arm around Mary-Kate's shoulders. We're stronger together. As they walked down the street, laughter and chatter filling the air, Mary-Kate felt a sense of belonging she hadn't experienced in a long time. The weight of her past was still there, but it no longer felt insurmountable. With her sister and her new friends by her side, she felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. But as they turned the corner, a figure emerged from the shadows, watching them with an intensity that sent a shiver down Mary-Kate's spine. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much larger than herself. Hey, do you guys see that? She whispered, her heart racing. Yay, Paige said, it is the future. All the friends looked at each other and agreed. The future may be dark with uncertainty, but as long as Brad, Mary-Kate, Paige, Caitlin and Ashley remain friends, the future will always shine bright.